I have been in the field for 25 years, almost 26 years. In that time, cybersecurity, as well as other technology positions, have been elevated from the guy in the basement to a trusted partner within organizations. And it has been a fight the entire time to get to that level, to get people to trust us, to get people to rely on us. But at this point, they can't do anything without us. There is not a single business that doesn't need technology. There's not a single school, there's not a single environment that doesn't need some form of technology now. And that part of our growth has been achieved. The evolution of that continues to now we have to be able to hold on to what we've accomplished and to be able to continue to grow and to continue to provide solutions so that everyone who depends on us can continue to grow as well. So it's not just us. We are partners. We are no longer the gamers in the back room. We are no longer the hackers and the attackers and the freakers and all of those things. We are now in this. We are now all the good guys, and we're here to help, and we're here to provide those solutions, and everyone needs us now.
Security was much more segmented 10 years ago. Today, I think more and more organizations are realizing that security isn't an optional add-on to an IT organization. It needs to be broadly visible, and folks understand that keeping an organization safe is very much an organization-wide responsibility that requires participation from everyone, and it also requires security folks who are willing to reach out and share what they know and participate in making it that organization-wide effort.
When I started in the field, I'm sure there was a CISO somewhere, but I was not aware that there were head of security. If it was head of security, it was physical. Therefore, I don't recall them being a CISO role 25 years ago when I started in the IT, or even 20 years ago when I shifted just to focus on security. So there is now a seat at the table for security. This is a topic that is being talked about by every board. It's being talked about by every executive team. So security is a front runner of topics and concerns. Certainly a top 10, and I hope it's certainly a top 10 in every board meeting that they're having as well. So there is a focus for security. It's no longer do we just take and say the IT person is also the security person. It's how do we find people who are security minded, security conscious, and how many of them can we get? How many do we need? It's not a if, it's how many do we need? How many are we going to hire? What are we going to have them focused on? It is not a hard to justify cybersecurity to any business now. I think most businesses understand the need for it. And that wasn't around 15 years ago.
I think this is probably the biggest thing driving our industry right now is how it just continues to evolve. Not very many years ago, I have to think back to like the early 2000s, it really was this technology role and a technology leader that was buried within the organization. And as you've seen CEOs and boards start to be held accountable for this, start to really care about the security posture, it's this constant elevation of the role to one of kind of business and risk leader versus a technology or security leader. And so I think that's been really interesting to watch. It's happened a lot faster than you would expect.
I'll summarize it by saying there was a time when the CISO was in the back room, hovered over a keyboard, and didn't want to talk to anyone. They were in their code, if you will, and they were comfortable there. I think as cyber started to become more important and relevant for companies, they started to come out of the shadow to be able to explain how things worked And then as companies started to experience breaches, they realized that CISOs needed to have a more prominent place in executive management. And now you're starting to see boards specifically call out and look for CISOs to join the boards. No longer are they in the shadows, they're in the boardrooms.
So I actually experienced this myself because I came in the field working within the IT organization. CISO did not really exist, I think about 20 years ago. I think they were called chief security officers, not even CISOs. And they were primarily anchored within IT. Now I see a lot of the CISOs moving into risk organizations, becoming of a risk function. So it's not an IT problem anymore, it's more of a risk function, and it's basically looking at all the risks holistically from their CISO point of view, right? Not just from technology, right? Because there'd be other issues not be technology related. So I think a lot of companies are getting that now, so that's why I think they're moving the CISO function outside of IT so they can have their own independence and they can have their own voice at the table when they're discussing security issues or matters with senior executives.
I think the biggest thing from an evolutionary perspective that's most settled as opposed to just starting is I think we have finally completed the shift from people thinking about this as a compliance discipline where the world is black and white and now truly understand that this is a risk management discipline and it's really all about shades of gray. There's still more evolution necessary, and we want the space to move. Today, there's still a huge amount of it that's art rather than science, and that's got to be the sort of next step, making it more of a science as we think about the risk management portion. But I think that first evolution of compliance to risk management is really here now and was most probably the most critical evolution in this space.